Hey guys, welcome back to a post-Christmas episode of the Banter Bets and BPL podcast. It's a quick turnaround. The boys just finished their game week today. Not too much to report on that. A little bit of money won, a little bit of money lost, nothing catastrophic. And we are putting a podcast back out because Premier League new game week tomorrow, and we're attacking that one pretty hard. We're looking to take advantage of these quick games, thick and fast, to grow our bank load. Cameron, you won the week. Coach Cam back on the pod permanently. He takes advantage his first week back, and he wins it in a bit of a different way. Coach Cam, explain to us how you won that money.
Okay, so to start, I want to just say that I got semi-lucky, but I want to say that in this occasion, I brought myself my own luck because I ended up winning. I parlayed Carlos Vinicius to score and a draw between West Ham and Brighton. And I voided because you always have to void if they don't start. He didn't start, so I ended up getting the 12-30 or whatever it was from the West Ham Brighton draw. So I ended up kind of creating my own luck there. And yeah, it was just, I think a lot of us got screwed over with Southampton. We parlayed a little bit here and there. I parlayed a couple over games, didn't really hit, but got fortunate with my yellow card Tarkowski bet. And yeah, paid out 28, and I'm just feeling good that I ended up winning money my first day back.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It was a bit of a weird bet, Tarkowski to get a yellow, but hey, bets that hit are good bets. So kudos to you, Coach Cam. You are just off the pace of the guest, who we don't have a guest right now, but we did have a guest right in with some picks. So we'll get to that a little later. I myself was happy with an $8 profit margin. Not too happy with that, but it just feels great when 30 of that profit comes from Chelsea losing against one of the worst teams in the league, Arsenal. So that was nice. We had Brother Keegs. Did you win a bet this week, Brother Keegs? Tough one for you.
No, sir. I'm going on a bit of a slide. Hopefully I can end that now. Don't have too much to complain about either. I was just outmatched by the bookmakers this week.
Yeah, sometimes it's tough to pull a fast one on those guys. They're certainly know what they're doing. Speaking of someone who hasn't pulled a fast one on the bookies in a little while, Sandy, what do you got to say?
I mean, I'm looking at the table. I'm not. My 750 is a decent week for me, all things considered. I bring the heat every week. Usually doesn't pan out for me. I don't know. I was unlucky this week. I say it every week, but Burnley probably should have won. Southampton probably should have won. Spurs should have won, and I had them all. So you just hate to see it.
Yeah.
Eventually things got turned for me. Hoping for a fresh start in the new year. You know,
even your boy Southampton let you down. It must be tough feeling like you can't trust anyone these days, eh? Not even Che Adams.
Yeah, no kidding, eh? I mean, you think you can trust these guys against like who they're playing this week? Was it who
Fulham
Southampton play this week? Yeah, hammered Southampton against Fulham, and they just let you down. Hate to see it, but
you've been laying it on the line for Shea these past few months as well, and you just couldn't come through in a big moment.
Yeah.
Anyways, why don't we jump right into it, guys? The games are coming thick and fast. Let's get into these bets. Or let's not get into these bets. Let's start talking about these games. Oh, and I actually have to pull up these games for us to talk about them. So let me get that on our screen here. All right, first game tomorrow morning already. And it is a horrible looking Crystal Palace team against a pretty good looking Leicester team. Sandy, can you tell me how on earth Leicester doesn't win this game? And why on earth they're close to even money against a Crystal Palace team who, coming off the back of a 7-0 defeat, hoping for an answer and a response, they're playing against a team who's 10 men for 60 minutes and they lose 3-0 and look horrible. Why is Leicester not easy money here?
The only thing I can think of to explain why this line is like what it is just law of averages. You know, you see a team just show up so poorly a few weeks in a row, and you think eventually they'll bounce back and have a decent showing. Teams don't usually get run out of the fucking barn 3 weeks in a row, so maybe they'll bounce back. But I don't know. Lots of time when that's the case, they're just a really bad team. So
I think they're just a really bad team. Coach Cam, do you think Crystal Palace are a really bad team? And do you think they are going to finish in the bottom 4? I'm not going to say relegated because we know how bad some of the teams are. You have to pick if they're going to finish in the bottom 4 this season, yes or no?
I think they're not going to finish in the bottom 4 this season.
So you think there's 4 worse teams in this league than
I think
Crystal
there are
Palace?
4 worse teams, and I can name them right now.
Yep.
Fulham, I think, are worst. I think West Brom are worse. I think Sheffield is worse. And this might bring up a little bit of debate, especially since we have an absolute a Burnley lover here, but I think Burnley are worse than Crystal Palace.
See, I don't think you're crazy to say that, Coach Cam, which it's astonishing to think that there's going to be possibly 4 teams in this Premier League that are worse than Crystal Palace this year, but it's not an awful take. I'm going to disagree on Burnley. I'm going to go over to Keegan because I think he's going to disagree a little harder, a little more vocally than me.
Honestly, Burnley have been looking good. They've been looking good. So. And Crystal Palace is heading in the wrong direction. Burnley was without McNeil through injury today. Probably deserved to beat Leeds. The ref kind of screwed them over a little bit there. And I mean, I think Crystal Palace's results kind of speak for themselves.
Yeah. Either way, that is going to be possibly an all-time low level of points to avoid relegation this year. I'm thinking we're looking at like 25, 26, 27 points to be safe. Traditionally, you know, they say it's get the 40 points and you're safe, although that's usually a little high anyways, but unreal how bad some of these teams have looked this year.
Well, I mean, sorry, if I may. Cam, yes. You said West Brom, I assume, eh?
Yeah, I said West Brom, Fulham, Sheffield, and Burnley.
West Brom draw away at Man City, draw away at Liverpool, playing the old 5-5-0 formation.
The
old reliable. Yeah, I think West Brom, they've got a draw against Man City, away at Man City, a draw away at Liverpool, a draw away at Chelsea this season. And how many points they have total? That's 3 of what? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they got to win against Fulham.
They got to win against Sheffield, who doesn't.
Yeah. No, they lost to Fulham there.
Yeah. They have the record, well, not the record. They have the most amount of draws because I just saw it today. I think they have 7 draws. So
there you go.
I think
11 points, maybe. I don't know.
West Brom's going to be in trouble this year because sure they can get the occasional draw against the top team, but that's when they just play a 5-5 and then they come up against any other team and they're like, well, we might be actually able to play a little bit this game. So, and then all those games end up in losses. And I mean, if you draw Man City and if you draw Liverpool, that's probably not going to get you that's 4 points all year.
Well, yeah. West Brom is going to get their 3 points. They're going to need to absolutely grind out 3 draws. Meanwhile, one other team could just get a win. And
yeah.
You know, they're going to have to start turning those draws into wins if they want to stay up, I think. Anyways, I think this has got to be an easy Leicester win. I think you bet against Palace until they show you at least a whimper of fight. What do you guys think?
Completely agree.
I agree.
Yeah. Sad state of Crystal Palace at this moment. Speaking of sad state of affairs, Chelsea coming off a loss to Arsenal in a spot. Aston Villa on the road as an underdog. Sandy, this is where we like Aston Villa, right?
I love this game as a Villa fan. These guys are looking dangerous right now. The boys are buzzing. Like, I don't know if you guys are watching Villa lately, but their finishing has been atrocious, but they're just creating chances left and right. They're all over the field. Grealish, I saw a little chart today. It was like the top, I don't know if it was on Instagram or something like that. It was like a chances created chart in Europe. I think Grealish was sitting right behind Messi in all of Europe for chances created or something like that. Might be a little inaccurate on my facts there, but it was some absurd stat. Villa looks good. They're not really consistent enough to be like a legit team, but this is definitely a dangerous game for Chelsea, and I love this spot for Villa.
Mm-hmm. This is exactly why we keep Aston Villa in the can't trust me basket, and we take them out for occasions like this to play around with them. So I'm excited for this one from a Villa perspective. Yeah, Grealish has been on fire. Watkins has been good. Even lately, Traore's coming on. Even what's his name, El Ghazi, not a player I expected to be saying his name on the podcast this year. or as a fantasy relevant player. Cam, you have him on your fantasy team. How did he do it? I thought this guy sucked.
Honestly, he scored. So he came on late when Trezeguet got injured. The very first game he got injured, he came on late and then scored the penalty. And right when I saw that game, I just said, I'm going to pick up El-Ghazi. I did. The first game, he got 2 points, played 90. After that, I think got 15 points, 2 goals. Then he just scored another goal. He's been looking good. And I just want to share this with any Chelsea fans that are listening, most notably Marco and Cody Appel. I was just on my phone going through Twitter and somebody tweeted, and I thought it was pretty funny. They said name, Timo Werner, Price, Salah, hype, Holland, expectation, Lewandowski, reality, Mbokani. And I thought that was so funny.
Mbokani.
Because Mbokani is way better than Timo Werner, so that's why I thought that they could have probably went a little lower. But I think Timo Werner is just fucking awful. And this is an easy Aston Villa win. I can close my eyes and pick Aston Villa. That's how confident I am with them.
I think they must have been talking about Norwich version of Mbokani, because I remember he transferred there a few years ago, and it didn't go very well for young Dieu Merci in Norwich. But yeah, I agree. The Chelsea fans are saying, I'm gonna take a bit of a run at the Chelsea guys too, because they're not on the pod. It's fun ripping on Chelsea. I just loved how last year they were like, whoa, we got a transfer ban. No wonder we're bad. We got a transfer ban. Like, just wait till we can make transfers. Spend 200 million in the summer, and now they're like, well, why are you guys judging us so early? Let them give us time to let our transfers settle in. Like, we just made a bunch of transfers. So I think it's funny now that they're running out of excuses. They're going against what they were saying last year.
And
it must be exhausting having to defend those buys. I mean, they just spend so much time having to try to defend like Timo Werner. I mean, I feel bad, pity them. They can't just concede that they're bad buys already. But everyone looking from the outside in, it's so obvious that these guys are not cutting it.
I was going to say hot take. Their best transfer, I believe, was right now is Thiago Silva, and he was free, wasn't he?
I don't think that's a hot take.
That's not a hot take at all. Yeah,
you don't think so? Okay, perfect. Then we're all on the same page.
Especially if you consider value, because he was free.
Yeah, that's why I think it's funny that they do complain about the transfer ban, and now I'm thinking your best player from the transfer window cost you nothing. So
exactly. All right. Keegan, go ahead.
Well, I just have to say this pretty much has nothing to do with anything here, but I had when Werner was still at Leipzig, being the jersey collector that I am, I picked up their Champions League jersey last year with Werner on it. I was pretty happy about it. Then he gets transferred to Chelsea, and I'm pretty sad about it. Kind of ruined the jersey, but I'm thinking I'm going to start being able to start wearing that with pride again.
Yeah, that's kind of an FU to throw in the face of Chelsea. I'm going to say it. As when Werner made the transfer and he was one of the players who declined to finish the Champions League with Leipzig, I think that showed a bit about his character. And, some of the other guys that had transfers lined up still played in Europe. Ever Banega for Sevilla comes to mind. He already had a transfer set up, but he dragged Sevilla to the Europa League final, to the Europa League title. I don't know. I would have expected Werner to try and finish the job there, but he just moved on so he could come off flying against for Chelsea, and it hasn't quite worked out. Was that a sign all along, Sandy? Was that a sign of a poor character?
Yeah, just a classic example of someone who cares a lot more about name on the back than the front, right? I mean, just like, fuck this current team. Like, I'm done with them. I don't care about the winning with the boys. I just want to make sure I get my paycheck, don't get hurt, and move on to greener pastures.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just walking out on your team in the Champions League quarterfinals?
That means
I sure can't.
They would it was the round of 16.
Oh.
Yeah. But the knockout stage of the Champions League, and it was one game elimination, you got to remember too. So it's not like he was looking at 7 more games possibly. He was looking at 3 or 4 more games.
How much do you think those Red Bull guys just disdain him now? If they ran up to each other, is Red Bull in the Champions League still?
Yeah, they're still in there. I was hoping
that'd be a great
Chelsea.
matchup. Yeah, they probably break his fucking leg. Like, what a scumbag.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Werner's a German, and I know not a lot of Germans like Red Bull Leipzig, so maybe he's just always just collecting the paycheck there, looking to move on.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on to what could be another good game here. We got Everton, Man City. Man City grinded out a win against, help me out here, Cam.
Newcastle.
Newcastle. Oh, no wonder it was a forgettable game. It was Man City, Newcastle. Those games are always boring. Everton grinded out a boring win against Sheffield United. So which of these boring winners is going to win this game? Coach Cam? I know you're not going to go against your boys.
Yeah, it's Manchester City all the way. Nothing else to say. I think that, yeah, I was a little disappointed with the amount of goals that Man City are scoring, but I'm very happy with the amount of goals that they are conceding. I think it's the least amount in the league. They're the top defensive team right now. And yeah, I think that they're going to just come out and win the game. I think it's just easy as that. I don't think that Everton have the firepower right now to break down Manchester City's defense as it is in the form they are in. So
City's defense is looking pretty good. Who'd have thunk it? Bringing John Stones back into a defense would actually solidify it. Certainly not me, but hey, breath of fresh air, John Stones. Maybe he'll be good for England at the Euros. There was a time, Brother Keegs, if you remember, when Everton was a big bogey team for Man City. Baines, Fellaini, Yelovich, David Moyes teams. Those teams used to always beat City when they were coming up. Do they have a chance to pull a rabbit out of the hat like old times? What do you think?
Yeah, I got a fun bet coming up just because Cam nailed it on the head. The way I kind of see the game going is the same as Man City against Southampton, where Man City just kind of shelled it. But so Cam kind of mentioned it perfectly about Man City's defense looking good, offense not looking too good. But I got a fun one because I think I'm going to go against that kind of trend here, try and get ahead of the curve here. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game, and the way I see it, Man City scores first. I was going to bet this very thing, but Man City scores first. Everton comes from behind when Man City sits back a little bit, maybe a couple Calou headers against littler center backs.
John Bones.
Calou headers, and Everton comes from behind and wins. Instead, I'm actually going to end up betting Everton to win and both teams to score.
Ooh, all right.
Nice.
Throw back to the old days of some Calvert-Lewin's going to channel his inner Fellaini. I'm looking forward to it.
I definitely don't love Everton here just because, I don't know, the festive periods kind of when you underline your depth, and we've seen what happens when Everton has to dig into their depth in the past.
Yeah, the rug is completely pulled out from beneath them when they need to switch one player.
Yeah,
they did really struggle to break down Sheffield United too, which is tough to watch. All right, why don't we move on to Brighton Arsenal? Arsenal coming off their first win in a long time. It was actually against a team that's better than them, Chelsea. Now that they're playing a team that should be worse than them, Brighton. Is this where Arsenal say, all right, we got our bi-monthly win. Let's take the foot off the gas and let a Brighton team, which Keegan loves as underdogs. I don't mind as underdogs. Sandy maybe sprinkled on them as underdogs. Coach Cam, maybe not as much, but we'll go to Coach Keegs or not Coach Keegs. He's never coached a thing in his life. Brother Keegs. Brother Keegs, Brighton at home, underdogs against an underwhelming Arsenal team. This seems like it's got your bet written all over it. Should I lock it in?
I strongly considered it, but don't lock it in yet. I think that's probably a big morale win for Arsenal. So I think I don't know. It's tough to place Arsenal right now after a pretty big win for them like that. And the way I see it, it's Arsenal who have looked bad, but might have just got that boost against a team that doesn't get results. So I don't really know where to put it right now. So
it is tough to pick a team that doesn't get results to get a result. I do find that tough as well. Keegan, free kick, 25 yards out, just right of center. Granit Xhaka is standing over it. How confident are you that he scores in a percentage?
Yeah, I was watching the game with Kieran, and since I have Lacazette on my fantasy team, and I see Lacazette lining it up. Didn't really expect much, but I'm like, oh, right on. Lacazette's going to take it, obviously, because Xhaka's not going to. And then Xhaka kicked the ball, and I said, oh no, like why would Xhaka actually kick the ball? And shut me right up.
Yeah,
Delightfully.
I thought this reminded me of the and I've done it a couple times, is the token left footer on a team of much more skilled players. Pedro's about to go take a free kick, or I don't know, Sota's lining up a free kick, and I'll just say, I'll just stand over there as the left footer. Just give something in the goalie's mind as if he thinks I'm going to take it instead of Pedro or Sota. I thought that's what Jacko was doing with Lacazette. And then he steps up and bangs it top corner. So that was good times. And it's just great to see it against, as the Chelsea boys might say, that one of the best goalies to ever play in the Premier League, the way they talk about Mendy.
Jacko must have been listening to the pod. We gave him some bulletin board material. He's out with vengeance last week.
Yeah, I haven't checked the emails in a while. Maybe I should check to see if there's one from hardasgranite99@gmail.com.
Probably. Who's that idiot that said Granit Xhaka's going to get back-to-back red cards?
Yeah, back-to-back red cards. Hey, there you go, Xhaka. You can use us as bulletin board material as much as you want, as long as you keep banging them in against Chelsea and Chelsea alone. All right. Why don't we? Yeah, I don't know. I agree, Keegan. I'd love to bet Brighton this game, but a team that doesn't get results to get a result just doesn't check out. So I think it'll just have to be a cheer. For me. All right. Oh my goodness. I just saw this game. Burnley at home to Sheffield United. Okay. Is this Sandy? This is what, 10 in the morning for you? What are the odds that you wake up and spend one of your first holiday with visiting with your sister who's just home from her job out of town for the holidays? What are the odds that you sit down and watch this one?
What time is it? 10 o'clock. I missed all these other delightful fixtures at the same time.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is a fun one though. Sometimes just
it's a fun one.
Watching these two just route one teams go at it, they cancel out and the games can get a little crazy. So who knows? But I'll be back in Burnley this week.
So it could get a little crazy in the same way that two old ladies who have walkers and they bump into each other and they get really angry at each other and they're throwing everything they got and they get into a fight. So that I think it could get crazy in the same way that would get crazy. Burnley versus Sheffield United. If you had to pick a winner right now, Coach Cam, between these two teams, who do you pick?
It's crazy because my heart's saying pick Sheffield, they are due. But my brain's saying there's no fucking chance Sheffield's gonna win one game. So I have to go with Burnley. But I think what you said is spot on with the two grandmothers. I think this game's gonna be fun to watch because this is the game where the teams are so shitty that players like McNeil are gonna look like fucking Messi, and people like McBurney are gonna look like prime Lewandowski. So you want to watch this game to pick up on that because these two teams are so shit.
I'm not sure about prime Lewandowski, but I like the enthusiasm, Coach Cam. Always been an enthusiastic coach. Keegan, if I had to tell you right now, you can pick total goals scored in this game, 0 or 1 or any other amount. Which do you pick? Which side are you on?
Any other amount. I think
Really?
0 or 1's too obvious. I actually think, I don't know, I'm kind of with you guys. I think it might be like, this is one of the games where I'm sure Sheffield are circling this kind of game. Burnley are circling this kind of game, and they're like, yeah, let's pick up points here. So I think both teams might be going for it a little bit.
They're like, let's really go at him here.
But then again, really going at them, neither of them are probably going to score very many of chances if they create any. So could be 0 or 1.
Adam Gase hyperdrive. Burnley's going on hyperdrive this week.
I don't know. I think this one, Sandy, you were talking about 1-0 Burnley bets. And taking those when it's a chance. I think this is the best chance you'll ever have of a 1-0 Burnley for the next little while.
Yeah, this game screams 1-0 Burnley, but I think I'm going to go Burnley to 0 just because I think Burnley could rout them here.
Oh, Burnley could fill their boots, eh?
Yeah.
Wood's looking good.
Burnley could be licking their chops for this one.
Wood and Barnes are handfuls. I know I'm kind of pooping on this game a little bit, but Wood and Barnes are handfuls at the best of times. I agree.
I think we're slandering Burnley a little too much here. They're off to a god-awful start to the year. I think like the last 10 games, they've been pretty respectable. They're pretty much bang on with what they were last year, and that's like mid-table.
Yeah, and at the start of the year, they had injuries everywhere. They must have been dipping into their 4th and 5th string players, and their 2nd and 3rds are terrible to begin with. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at the tail end of last year, they couldn't even fill a bench. I remember one game last year, they had like 3 guys on the bench. It was like a dynamo game.
two of them were goalies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their bench was 3 guys, 2 were backup goalies.
2 of them had McClays in their hand.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was crazy.
One of them was just like a guy they pull off the street to fill up the water bottle with beer.
Yeah, exactly. Plugsy. All right.
Just flying across the fucking field and kill somebody.
Southampton, West Ham. I think this is a bit different, a bit opposite to Burnley, Sheffield United. 2 teams that have a bit of attacking talent, have been given it a bit of a go this season, taking some scalps. Is this a game that's going to be exciting? Is this an over for sure, Sandy? I know you're always an over fan.
Yeah, you always want to bet the overs, especially in the holiday season. Well, yeah, we'll stick with that. I don't know, even though this week was pretty boring, but yeah, this game should be fun. I don't know, is Antonio gonna be back yet?
Oh, I've
West
been
Ham's
waiting
a
for
little-
Antonio to be back for 9 weeks now, and he hasn't come back, so I wouldn't be holding my breath.
Touching grass. He's touching grass. Remember that.
West Ham's a little bit of a bore when they got Hilaire up front. And
Yeah, that
when
is
they're
true.
when they're not starting Ben Rama, but I don't know. Southampton tends to liven games up by themselves. Those guys like to play. Even this weekend, 0-0 affair. It was a thrilling 0-0, boys. I don't know if anyone else caught that game, but back and forth, goals ruled out. So they're always a fun watch.
Enthusiastic. Do they get the win this week, Coach Cam? Southampton?
Yeah, I think they do. I don't know. I sent this into our chat, but I said they showed halftime the amount of touches and where the touches were of Sebastian Hilaire. And I said in the chat, if anyone saw that, it was pitiful. It was 11 touches, and they were all in the midfield third, closer to half, on the left side of the field. I said, why the fuck would he strike every touching there? Sebastian Hilaire is awful. There's no way he's breaking down Southampton. There's no way he's scoring. And I think Southampton they gave City a run for their money. City had to shell back. I think they're going to break down West Ham. I think it's going to be a win for sure. And I actually have the over in this game as well. So I think it's going to be 2 or 3, maybe even 4 goals scored between the 2 sides.
There you go. Hopefully I think this will be the one that I'm watching out of those 10 o'clock games. Maybe even the next one coming up here, just because Leeds are in it. Leeds a little bit lucky to win today. Keegan, do you want to give us the run through of Leeds and their luck this morning? Because I know you were really proud of yourself for waking up and watching this game. And I have to agree, some of the calls in this game were a little rough.
I mean, yeah, they started the game off 4 minutes in, won a penalty that probably wasn't a penalty. I'm sure as a goalkeeper, Sandy can agree. It just seemed like the goalie just caught the ball, and then mystery whistle was blown. VAR seemed like they had nothing to do with it. It was honestly like a 15-second review. Like, didn't even get a chance to show the screen of them reviewing it. So I don't know what happened there. Must have not turned it on yet to start the game. And then their weak goalie that actually won me my fantasy matchup against Sandy, Melier, had a blunder, and the commentators made a great point about this. Not a single person on Leeds was complaining. Not a single person, not even Melier, was complaining. And all of a sudden, a whistle's blown and it's a foul, and I guess VAR can't step in because a whistle was blown. And there you go. So Leeds was pretty fortunate, I think, just based on those 2 right there. And you know what I think? I think Leeds should definitely sign a goalkeeper. And you know who should they sign? One of my favorites, Matt Ryan, who's recently lost his spot somehow over in Brighton. Not sure what happened there, to be honest. But yeah, I think that's how Leeds improve their team.
Yeah, and so I know this is a goalie heavy podcast. We got 2 goalies on here. But I think today just showed how protected goalies are. Did you see that call, Sandy? He literally just dropped the ball. There was a player close to him, and the ref's like, no, we'll just
Jumped into the player.
Yeah, that's disgusting. I mean, as much as I want to defend the goalies, and I do defend goalies quite often when people are bitching at them about letting goals in and stuff like that.
Usually
when it comes to something like that, it's just it's a simple fucking handling error. You just drop the ball, come out for it. You gotta own that one. You gotta be punished for that. You can't get bailed out by some cheap call.
Yeah,
So
that was
it's a
very
tough
true.
look for goalies. Everyone's saying, "Oh, the goalies are so defended." Goalies just get no love, but when then they're getting bailed out with calls like that, it's just doesn't help us. Doesn't help our case.
Mhm.
I don't know about you, Sandy, but I probably would have not a single thought in my mind to catch that ball. I would have been running out with a punch and probably studding the guy in the back of the skull if I could. And then watch it be no call, and I wouldn't have dropped the ball either. So
Yeah, Melier needs to be more ferocious. Channel his inner Keegs.
Maybe that, I don't know. For me, that's a classic. Just knee to the spine, get your knee nice and high, and just grab the ball. Like just bury that
Yeah.
striker. Like it wasn't even a hard play. Like he had all the time in the world to corral it. But
and the attacker had his back to it. That's just
Yeah.
a prime target.
Yeah, that's a Mac Pennick love. Mac Pennick's eyes turned into hearts when that play came up because he would have fucking killed them.
Mac
Grab
wouldn't
the
have
ball.
even been
Yeah.
looking at the ball.
He would have still got it and then threw in a shoulder to the second striker he saw, and then half volleyed it, and then would have been 1-0 Burnley. So I don't know what the fuck happened there. 1-0 Leeds, but whatever.
yeah, a nice
hey.
nice lofted ball in the box. You see the striker with his back turned. That's the green light to go out there and lay him out.
Oh yeah.
Hey, on the bright side, though, as Dermot Gallagher was so kind to point out to us at halftime, this wasn't VAR. This was the good thing is the refs made these calls. So as long as we got refs making mistakes, that's what it's all about, right, Derm?
Yeah.
That man's loyalty cannot be questioned. He will go to bat for any reffing mistake. But no, he did actually kind of say that one was a bad call. So you know it's a bad call if Dermot Gallagher isn't defending you, Premier League refs. Hang your head in shame. If old Derm doesn't come out at halftime and say, well, you know, I don't really know. It could have been.
Yeah, but the thing is though, he said it was like a bad call, but he said that like the kind of defended the ref still being like, well, since the whistle was blown, there is nothing he can do about it. So
Yeah.
you can't go to VAR since the whistle was already blown or something like that. And it's just like so they did everything properly, but
Yeah, Derm will find a way to defend his boys. You got to love it. All right, moving on to the late game tomorrow. No, this is Tuesday already, not tomorrow. Moving on to the late game. Oh, excuse me. We have Manchester United, Wolves. Wolves, another bit of a toothless display today. Fabio Silva kind of running hard, not really doing too much. United looked pretty good. Thought they did enough to win the game against Leicester. A bit of sloppy defending let them down. Is this as easy a home win as the number makes it out to be, Keegan? Or is this the type of game that Manchester United find a way to lose?
I don't think it's as easy as it shows. I just can't decide, and someone can hop in and give me their opinion. I can't decide if United's attacking play will cancel out Wolves' defensive play, or if Wolves' defense will cancel out United's attacking play, and it's going to be a boring game.
Wolves games are traditionally boring. You know, they
Yeah,
get so much.
yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that's the
gonna
point
say,
I was trying to
yeah.
make. I kind of said it like an
I agree.
idiot, but
No, I understood what you're saying. I was agreeing with what you're saying. And like, I was on it as well early. Wolves always like, oh yeah, I love to see how Wolves play football, but they're just kind of boring and they're sneaky boring and their games are always sneaky unders. And it's not even that sneaky anymore. I think it's just the way it is. Sandy, what do you got? United easy win, or is this a Wolves showing up against a better team?
Yeah, Wolves are just an embarrassing squad these days. Like their only chance of winning is like a 1-0 or probably a 1-0. Like they can't really score 2 goals in the game anymore. So they try and muck it up and I don't know, like a 1-0, 1-1 result. I would say there's no way that this is an exciting game. It'll be like a boring 1-1, 2-1 United game or something like that, or like 1-0.
Mm-hmm. Coach Cam, if you had to say right now, will Raul Jimenez play again this season? What would you say?
Oh, that's a tough one for me because when he got injured, and then even after he had surgery, I actually straight up, because Kieran Ezard, shout out to Kieran Ezard, he texted me and was asking about the trade he made with his dad. One of my opinion, I said it was stupid because I, at that point, said I don't think Jimenez is going to come back and play at all in the season. I heard he was back in training, so I'm going to say yes. I think he is back. And
I don't think he was back in training. I think he was back at training saying hi to the guys. Like as David Moyes would say, he was touching grass.
Okay. I still want to say yeah. I still think that now some time has passed, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth here. I think I'm saying yes because I want to see him back because Wolves cannot score without him. Like it's that simple. Adama Traore today put in, it had to be 25 plus crosses, and they were missing the key point, and it was Jimenez heading the ball in, being that striker, that lethal striker with a half volley, bouncing balls, putting it in. Fabio Silva is as good as me when I played. Like he's terrible. He's not a good striker. So I'm saying yes because I want him back because Leeds can't do or Wolves can't do well, but I'm also thinking my primary gut was I don't think he's going to be back for the rest of the season. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know. I couldn't agree more about the Adama take. How many times last season did he beat his man, float across in, Jimenez header, 1-0, Jimenez header, 2-0 late in the game, whatever. And now he's floating him into Padence, who's the shortest player in the Premier League. It's just not quite the same effect. It kind of shows also Adama is such a one-dimensional player. Like he hasn't been very good at all this season. And it's kind of because he doesn't know how to do anything else other than beat the guy wide on his right foot, hang up across, you know?
Yeah, he's definitely a one-star weak foot kind of guy.
Yeah.
Doesn't know what to do when he cuts inside.
Yeah. And the jig is up for Adama. Yeah, I don't think, has he scored this season? I don't think so. Might not even have any assists. A bit of a disappointing player for
Real
sure.
sad to see. Fun guy to watch on his day.
Yeah, absolutely. He needs his running mate, Jimenez, makes everyone around him better, that guy, that Raul. All right, let's move on to Wednesday, day number 3 of this little mini game week here, midweek game week. And speaking of boring teams, Tottenham, Fulham. So, Coach Cam, I'm going to ask you right now, Tottenham's going to go 1-0 up in this game. How many more shots are they going to get after they go 1-0 up?
I would say under 2.5 is also an option.
And can you explain to me why Tottenham go up on these bad teams or definitely worse teams than them? It was Crystal Palace a couple weeks ago. Today it was Wolves, who's I guess not a bad team, but should be a worse team than Tottenham, especially without Jimenez. Why do they go up 1-0 and then just sit back and act like they don't need to attack for 85 minutes and think it's going to be okay to win 1-0?
I think it has to do with the manager. I think it has to do with Mourinho and Mourinho's way of coaching. I think Mourinho's really, really, really tactic driven, heavy tactic driven, and I think he goes up. I think they went up. They were playing that 5 in the back or a 3-5-2 or whatever they're playing today. They scored, and then they switched to a 4 back, and they dropped their. It was weird. I don't know why they did it, and then they just sat back and decided we're going to absorb as much as we can. And it didn't work out, and I don't know why Mourinho. It seems like Mourinho doesn't have faith in his team as much as he should. And he's like, I want to be the head coach. I want to be the leader. I'm going to make sure that after we're going to attack right away. We have exciting players, and then right after we score, we're going to just go back. I'm going to make sure this is how it is. And kind of control every individual player, every individual decision, and every individual position, instead of having a little more faith in his players. And I think that's why you see, like you said, the quick goal, the early goal, and then the lack of attack thereafter. So,
as a coach yourself, Coach Cam, your team gets an early goal like that. Do you change anything, or do you say more of the same?
I guess it depends who your opposition is, because if West Brom today scored an early goal, I think that they would probably more or less to go back to the 5-5-0 or stay with that.
Yeah.
But in what I believe is Wolves aren't far behind Tottenham. Was as far behind as, so let's say, West Brom or Crystal Palace or Sheffield. So I don't know why they would switch. And usually, if you're scoring an early goal, it's either a tactical error by your opposition or it's because you're the better team. So I think you should stay either way, whatever the reason is, until you see a drastic change, whether it's the opposition switching their what they're doing to compensate for your team, or it's later in the game and now you're up 1-0 and now it's the 70th, 80th minute and now you're thinking, okay, now I need to hold the lead because there's 10 minutes left. But yeah, I think Mourinho he needs to be in charge. He needs to have every detail picture perfect for every moment in the game. And I think he needs to have a little more faith in his team.
I agree. I think Mourinho's tactics have been generally very disappointing since because Tottenham were looking to look pretty good a little bit at the start of the season there. And, as soon as people started talking about them, Tottenham title, I think we had an infamous Coach Cam quote a couple weeks ago, locking them in as the title. I'm sure you feel a little bit worse about that at this point. But since then, I think their tactics have been really negative. Keegan, Sandy, go ahead.
I think Spurs just need to bring someone to the team that's just gonna, when they go up 1-0, they yell, "Still 0-0, lads! Here we go again, and we go again!" Like a still 0-0, lads. They should bring Delphin in. They should bring Fabian Delphin just so he can fill that role. Just yell at the boys, 0-0, boys. Treat it like 0-0 game.
Exactly. You're right. You're totally right. They don't have that guy. Treat it like it's 0-0, boys. Yeah. Come on, nothing changes. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. That's who they need.
Yeah. Brother Keegs, we saw Fulham have a right go at Liverpool the other week. Fulham has shown up to some games against tougher opposition, whereas maybe they sometimes play down to the level of, and they've been in some boring draws recently with some teams maybe down at their level. Do they show up in this one and give Tottenham a go?
I don't know. I think you guys kind of nailed it on the head with Tottenham going up early, probably. Scoring at one point, I imagine, but and then if they continue the same negative football, I wouldn't be surprised if Fulham bloodied their nose a little bit and took a point or two. A point or three off them.
There you go. All right. Yeah. I don't know. Usually I'd be putting Tottenham in a parlay at home like this, but I don't know, guys. I just haven't seen enough from them recently to be doing that. I think we're staying away from the parlays this week, maybe. All right. And last but not least, Liverpool, Newcastle. We spoke about the 5-5-0. Any chance Newcastle differs from the 5-5-0, even though they're going to be at home in this game? Or are we seeing that 5-5-0, Brother Keegs?
Well, I don't know. To be honest, I didn't watch how Newcastle set up against City. I imagine it'll be the same. I think they just had Joel Linton up there alone. Didn't watch the game, so maybe Cam, if you watch the game, could provide a bit more insight on how Newcastle set up. But I will say this though, before I pass over the microphone here, Klopp was probably absolutely livid with the second half performance from Liverpool. He probably gave him the old hair dryer treatment after the game, and they're probably going to be coming out ready to play and not let that happen again.
That's true. Coach Cam, how did Newcastle set up against City?
I'm
sure it was a 5-4-1?
It was a 5-4-1. From what I recall, I know they had DeAndre Yedlin at right wing back. They had Matt Ritchie left wing back, and Joe Linton was the lone striker. So I'm pretty sure it was 5-4-1. It couldn't have been a 6. It was definitely a 5-4-1 . So
I'm sure they were dropping as many in as they could.
6 more. No. For sure, Joe Linton was the lone striker because they had I think Newcastle was a little more, I guess, positive or proactive than West Brom. And to be fair, I know Callum Wilson didn't play against City, so I think they might have been saving him or resting him for this game. So maybe they might throw up 2 strikers and play Callum Wilson and Joel Linton. Moran and maybe go 4-4-2. Looking to exploit a tired Liverpool. Joe Matip just got injured, so I don't know. I guess Reece Williams might go in, or whoever that guy is. Who knows?
Oh my God!
Maybe Newcastle might surprise you guys and come up with a point or 3.
Cam and
Reece Williams
guy.
Yes, see Reece Williams getting pace abused by Caroline Grant today.
Yeah, on that one ball.
Tragic, yeah.
What a ball that was.
Yeah, from Tom Sawyer's.
You can also join Jack Harrison on the all bad hair team.
Yeah. We got a couple teams going. Yeah, all bad hair team. We got the stupid 11. Do we have any, because we're done talking about these games now, do we have any new entries into the stupid 11 for this week, or what do you guys think?
Tyrone.
Oh, Mings?
Isolated incident, but
yeah,
not his finest moment, probably.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be, again, when you got a yellow card, you got to manage it a bit better than that. I think Mings is generally a smarter player, so I'm not ready to throw him in the stupid 11 yet. But maybe he's on stupid watch from now on out.
Stupid watch for sure. Yeah.
The ref of the Leeds game, maybe.
We would definitely have him reffing the game. Does anyone have a name on him? Rob? I thought his name was Rob or something.
I could probably pull that up right now. Actually,
I'm not 100% sure because I was a little sleepy at that for that early game. But I swear they said that was his first ever Premier League game, and he's reffing championship.
Oh wow! It was his third appearance in the Premier League. Robert Jones.
Oh,
He obviously has been watching the Prem and knows that the rest
75 appearances in the championship. They must have just been promoted.
Well,
do they have VAR in the championship? Probably not.
No.
Much like West Brom, I think he's going to be being sent straight back down. And with that, why don't we get into our bets for the week? Coach Cam, you're coming off a winning week. Let's keep it going. It's a bit of a tough betting slate, I have to say, from what I saw, but let's find some money makers in here. What do you got?
Okay, so I did a couple parlays. I did a lot of parlays actually, but we'll start with the first one. So the first day, I decided to do a parlay. I have Leicester beating Crystal Palace. I have City obviously beating Everton. And we all know I picked Aston Villa to go Chelsea for the same reasons Sandy described.
The away team parlay.
Yeah, 3 away teams. And it was $4, pays out 56. So it was looking pretty good. I did a parlay with teams in the second day. For Tuesday, I picked Leeds to beat West Brom. I picked Liverpool. I guess Liverpool is the Wednesday as well. But I picked Liverpool to beat Newcastle, and then I picked Southampton to beat West Ham. So those 3 teams, $4, pay 22. I did a couple parlays for goal scorers. It was a little tough because I'm assuming there's going to be heavy rotation.
Absolutely.
So this week I picked Carlos Vinicius. I'm assuming he's played 12 minutes in the Prem all season. 12 minutes. He's played a ton in the Europa League. He scored a ton not a ton, but I think he has 3 goals in the Europa League. He has to play. Kane just played 90. I hope he plays. He's got to play. He's also on my fantasy team.
Oh, there you go.
I
was gonna ask.
You buried the lead there, Cam. Yeah.
It all comes out. But yeah, so I'm picking him to score. I'm actually parlaying him to score any time. Obviously, vote if he doesn't start with Riyad Mahrez because Mahrez didn't play in the Newcastle game. He's going to come out against Everton. It's going to be lively. He's always a great player to watch. So I'm going to do those 2. And then I did a separate $4, paid 21. I did a separate parlay. I picked the chosen one, PB and J, Patrick Bamford. I'm assuming that Bielsa will just play the same players. That's usually how he is. I don't know how much rotation he's going to do. So I picked him, and then I picked Minamino as well to play and to score anytime. I'm assuming that he might play. I'm not really sure. Maybe Father Bell might know more, but I picked those 2. $4, paid 19.80. Again, viewers and fans, void. If you know what I'm saying.
I'm starting to think Cam, he really wants these players not to start just so we can void it and get the rest of the bet.
It's funny because one will score early, like if Mahrez
scores, like, don't start.
If Mahrez scores against Everton, I usually am like, okay, if Vinicius doesn't start, that's fine. I still win whatever, $10, $12. So I don't know, it works out. And then my last $4, I ended up being $20 in total. I did a couple overs unders. So I have over 2.5 in the Southampton game, over 2.5 in the Crystal Palace Leicester game, and over 2.5 in the West Brom and Leeds game. And then I parlayed those 3 also with under 2.5 in the Burnley Sheffield United game and under in the Brighton versus Arsenal game. And I also want to mention this is a big game because if Arsenal doesn't get a result against Brighton, which I don't think they're going to, but if they don't, this will really show. I guess Arsenal fans should be scared if Brighton end up coming out with 3 points because this will really show where Arsenal sits in the table and which probably going to solidify in the table. So, but yeah, I did those. I think it's going to be an under game. I actually think it's going to be maybe a scrappy 1-0, maybe 2-1 or 2-0 Brighton. But yeah, I bet $4, pays out 65. So that's that.
Throwing the gauntlet down for the Arsenal fans. You guys better bring it.
Exactly.
All right. I'll go quick. I didn't have too much. Like I said, I thought this was a bit of a tough slate this week, but I'm sticking with my away teams getting value idea that's kind of been hit or miss, but we'll look to hit this week. I've got Leicester or draw, taking advantage of it being near money or near to even money. So I'm going to go with Leicester or draw, parlayed with Aston Villa or draw. Again, I think Aston Villa this is a great spot for them, and Leicester, surely they don't lose to Palace. So I've got $10 on that to pay out 27.50. I have got Arsenal or draw. So just Arsenal, you just got to not lose, guys. And Sheffield United or draw. I think this is a game that Sheffield could at least squeak out a draw in. That parlay, $10 pays out 20.44. And then my third such parlay is what do we got here? West Ham or draw away at Southampton, and Leeds or draw away at West Brom. $10 pays out 21. Just looking to hit two of those three at least and come out in the positives. And then my last one is I would be remiss if I didn't throw $5 on Aston Villa. Like I said, pulling them out of the can't trust basket and putting them out on my shelf to look at this week. Shined them up real nice. And then we'll put them right back in the basket as soon as we're done playing with them going into next week. And those are my 4 bets. Let's roll with, I believe, Sandy, you lost the least amount, or is it Keegan next?
I think I'll
Sandy.
go. Let me
Sandy.
step up here.
What do you got?
I actually don't mind the slate,
Ooh,
obviously considering that it's a one-day turnaround and never really know what's going to happen. That's an
Very
element of
true.
uncertainty, but
very true.
I don't mind it. I'm definitely gonna go big with Leicester. I'll be shocked if they don't win. Gotta keep betting against those bad teams. So that's me 15 to win 30. Have a little action on Villa, 5 for 23.75. I'm gonna go Burnley to 0. I'm feeling pretty good with that one. 10 to win 36. I'm gonna have a Che Adams, Roberto Firmino goal scorer parlay.
Oh no.
So,
This is at risk of mushing my fantasy team, but these are two guys I watch closely, and they both look really good of late, and they haven't found the net in a few games. So I feel like goals could be in order this week. That's 5 to win 32. I'm gonna also go with a City Liverpool parlay, little chalk parlay. I think City wins this game for sure. Kind of betting against Everton with the short week and having absolutely zero depth. It's kind of my logic there. And I'm also going to take Liverpool 4+ winning margin. Hoping for a big bounce back this week. We saw last time when, I don't know, didn't they tie someone? They tied Fulham. Another shitty team. Klopp was pissed. They came out and thrashed Palace like 7-0. I expect a strong bounce back from Liverpool on a short turnaround. So I'm going to take my chance on that one. And that's what I got. Quite a bit of action.
all righty. Cheers, Sandy.
Trying to stay
Keegan?
below the $200 mark.
Yeah, true. This is a big week for Sandy. He's sitting at
Teetering on it.
negative 198.96. Yep. Needs
Gotta go
a positive
positive.
week.
Need a
Back
positive.
against the wall.
I have to get 2 dogs and do his bets now.
Yeah, we're gonna need to find a different dog. All right,
No,
Keeks, what do you got?
We can actually do that since I'm at home.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I've been getting burned for the last couple of weeks. Haven't been making some very strong bets, so I'm just gonna get back to basics. I have 4 2-team parlays. 750. Half my betting pot on Leicester Liverpool by themselves returns 18.28, and then we're gonna hit Southampton Leeds $4 returns 17.20, and we're gonna go Villa Burnley $2 returns 22.56, and then I had $1.50, and I was looking absolutely everywhere to spend it, so might as well swing for the fences here. Parlaying, I actually originally had Fulham to win 1-0 against Tottenham, but you guys talked me out of that one to change it to the draw 1-1, and parlaying that with Everton to win and both teams to score, because I said I was going to bet that. $1 is $1.50 pays $127.50.
There you go.
And the last thing I'm going to say for this podcast is I'm wearing the jersey. The boys just won the division. I think in our fifth podcast, I said, throw as much money as you want in them to win the division. It's a lock. It was less of a lock than I hoped it would be,
They
but
took the scenic route.
it was inevitably a bet one, and a bet one's a bet one. So
A bet one is a bet one. Congratulations to Seattle Seahawks for winning the most overrated division in the National Football League. On that note, we are going to read out my dad, Bill's picks. He sent him into the podcast. He was grinding away at work over the Christmas period, so he had a lot of time to take a look at these. Here they are if you want my bets, he says. Leicester, $5 to win. That's a lot for him, so he's really confident in Leicester. Leicester, $5. Just the way he writes this is funny. Chelsea, $2 not to lose, so winner draw. So there you go, Chelsea. He's got $2 on the Chelsea double chance. Probably looking to win about 30 cents or so.
Yeah.
There you go, Chelsea. At least my dad's backing you guys not to lose at home against Villa. Sheffield, $5 not to lose. Same thing. I actually have that same bet in a parlay. So Sheffield United, $5 winner draw. Southampton, West Ham, he's got $5 on the under. West Brom and Leeds, he's got $5 on the under. Spurs and Fulham, he's got $2 on the under. So he's got 3 unders there. I think his thinking is lots of rotation, lots of tired legs, not a lot of goals. I kind of respect that and understand where he's coming from. And then lastly, he has $10 on the Liverpool win to get back a nice solid $2.25, enough to buy Tim Hortons coffee. So there you go. Cautious as always, but hey, when you're playing against guys who sometimes swing for the fences and miss, not a bad idea to go cautious. Anyone have any plugs before we head out and say goodnight? I would like to shout out Ryan Sherwood, who I'm playing against in fantasy football finals, and I had an 100-point lead on him going into today, and it looks like I might be losing that 100-point lead and losing the money that goes with it. So absolute heartbreaking day for me. But yeah, way she goes sometimes, right, guys?
I hope you weren't talking shit after that Camaro showing.
I was
And
not.
have it come back to burn you.
No,
you're smart.
but thank goodness. Thank goodness I'm not someone like Marco. All right. Thank you for listening to Banter Bets and BPLs. As always, big thank you to Sandy back home in Kenora. Say hi to the family. Coach Cam, say hi to the family in Thunder Bay. Brother Keegs didn't get to make it out to Thunder Bay, but I'll see you soon. You'll be coming out to watch a Seattle Seahawks game this time next year. You can see them clinch the most overrated division in person. All right, guys. Thanks for coming on. Listeners, thanks for listening. Have a good Happy New Year. And we'll be back. We've got some games on New Year's Day, so we'll be back. Maybe a little bit of a New Year's Eve pod, couple drinks. I don't know. We'll have to talk about it. Maybe let the liquor flow and let it fly a little bit.
I'm always in. You said liquor, and I didn't even care what day or time it was. I'm in.
Man's eyes lit up on that one, so maybe we'll appease him. All right, listeners, stay safe, bet safer, and thank you for listening to Banter, Bets, and BPL.